Hey guys, what's up? It's Schla coming back to ya with another episode of Car Rides with Schla. And today, it's been Schla. No, it is Schla. I don't know. I kind of feel like I'm in a bit of a funk right now. I'm not really too sure why, but it's been a relatively good time, for me. In general, I can say that I can't complain, and, yeah, I just, today for some reason, just kind of now, it's kind of just feeling a little weird about things, I guess, I kind of go through these cycles. I think it's probably been witnessed on here where I really try to be a bit more positive or optimistic, but I think at the truth, there's still some core concerns that are yet to be dealt with properly, There's still some things, there's still worries. And I just don't feel like I'm free yet. I don't feel that I'm in that final form. Not truly myself. And the days keep going on and I keep living through them, but I've been trying to do better. I think I've been doing better, but at the same token, at the same time, in a way, I'm not. In a way, I feel like in some ways, beneath it all, am I any more than who I always was? Like, kind of thinking about how strange it was how quickly 2024 went by. For the amount of crazy things that happened that year, the amount of leaps I took, I almost felt more prepared. Again, it's difficult to remember, but for some reason, there was just such a different feeling back in 2024. I was roughing things through, really, truly. When I think back, I hadn't optimized anything. For the first while in my job, I wasn't even doing overtime. So I was only doing 40 hours a week. And I was doing extra silly stuff, extra silly. I was like getting there and waiting until my exact shift to clock in, exact minute to clock in. Because I was worried, I was worried to clock in early, I guess. I guess I was worried to do that for whatever reason. Worried to clock in early. And, yeah, I don't know. The whole point is it was extremely unoptimal. It wasn't good. And over time, I obviously learned, I can just clock in when I get there. I don't have to do that. And that I can get overtime and all these things. So I obviously started making a lot more money. But for a while in 2024, I wasn't making that much at all, before I got my raises. And my raises weren't until 2025. That's the only time I actually got a proper raise. So I'd worked for a long time at this company and did not, I mean, I was making like a really low wage. You know, it's kind of, again, in retrospect, to think about it, it's kind of crazy, and I put up with all this stuff. I mean, in a way, I guess it was fresh. I guess working at the time was this fresh experience. It was something I didn't have to do, but low key, I mean, you have to do it. But I'm saying I was in a environment, I was in a situation with my parents where, you know, I I technically didn't have to. I was choosing to. I was definitely making a choice to. And I guess it could have been from a place of feeling like I had to, but at the same time, not necessarily. You know? I used to not care if people were playing music in their car, but now I do because I'm recording. There's no time for this stuff to be leaking into my record. No, I'm just playing. But what I am saying is I feel that I've kind of, um, you know, yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought, sadly, because I'm trying to talk about something important, like how I've been feeling and how I've been doing, you know? I'm trying to talk about it, but it's not, I feel a little bit sad about things. Oh, yeah. So in the beginning, I mean, things were a lot worse, but in a way, back then, I don't know. See, like, it's so strange. It's so strange. And again, in a lot of ways, I felt that things have sort of gone off the rails since. In a lot of ways, they've gone off the rails in my life. My life has gotten hectic and crazy. Much crazier than I thought it would have been, or the things I've had to deal with. But 2024 in my memory, it seems so far away. And it even did throughout 2025. And it seems kind of odd to me. I'm not sure exactly why, but the words that are coming to me now is that 2025 was probably just a particularly pivotal year that I'm probably going to remember as being so. And I think 2026, as far as I can tell so far, is off to the same thing. It's off to the same track. It's on the same track to be a crazy, or maybe not quite as crazy, but I don't really know at this point. Already is so much. There's so much that's hard to say. There's so much that's hard to know. But I'll say that much. And of course, on a day like today, there appears to be traffic. You know, it all seems very fitting. But yeah, so it's like, why do I see things how I see things? Why does 2024 seem like such a blip when it really was a pretty influential year? And even 2023, well, 2023 was really important too. A lot of these memories seem to have faded and fizzled. Isn't that strange? I think so much change happened in such a short time period, and it pretty much was one year after another. 2023, 2024, 2025. If I'm going to be honest, I haven't really had a moment to breathe yet. In truth, I haven't. Dealing with so much changing and unpredictability and never really having a proper time to rest. Not necessarily even hitting all my goals, but just doing all this craziness. Doing all my optimization. Getting used to working after not working and thinking I was never gonna work. It's been a lot of steps in just a few years. Driving, because I didn't even... And I remember I'd be sitting in my room and I'd be asking God why he was taking things so slow with me. Please give me a chance to do something, and my wish came true. So that's why, be careful. Be careful what you wish for. But hey, at the same time, not really sure how much it matters because it was probably a part of God's plan anyway. I'm not really sure how consequential that wish even was because, what? Huh? What was that talking? No, I'm joking. What was that talking about? Yeah, I mean, a lot of change in a very short period of time. And all my rest and relaxation ended very quickly. I guess I'm on the right track. Just hanging in there. But things happen. You think as long as you had this, as long as you had that, it never seems to matter, does it? I keep getting more. And it keeps not even necessarily panning out. Well, what do I mean by that? I mean mentally, in my mind. My joy is not specifically changed. Or, well, I can't really say that. I think I am happier now than I was, of course. But are certain, I guess there's in certain ways you can't completely avoid having off moods or off moments, for example. It's just impossible. You just can't do it. You know, there's going to be times where, you know, But yeah, and I don't want to come like, because it's like I'm whining. And I don't really want to come across like I'm whining. I don't know. Why do we feel the way we do? Why is everything so perspective and relative, you know? Everything seems to come across this way, where you try Sorry, I lost my train of thought. For some reason, I feel pretty tired, even though I don't really have a actual reason to be. I don't have an actual reason to be, you know? It's strange. And then there's car rides with Schla. You know, what's always been here, what we've always been doing. What we always will do. Car rides with Schla. Yeah, I wonder. I wonder. But I guess hope impacts me, you know? I get too hopeful, try to be more pessimistic. You know, that's kind of fire. Pessimistic. You know, instead of pessimistic, positive. I feel like that's got a ring to it, you know? It kind of sounds cool. Now, what's something that I could do that would really invigorate me? Because, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't tired all day, and then now, really ready to put the towel in. You know what I'm saying? Really ready to just toss the towel right now. It's interesting how that works. I guess it's not that crazy. You know, when I think of my past years in retrospect, it just seems somewhat crazy, honestly. We'll have to see, I guess. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, I'm kind of concerned because I'm really losing it now. I don't really know what's going on. We still have some time, though, I guess. No, I never. Yeah. Huh. Huh. I guess, you know, in a way, it's kind of concerning or annoying the amount of silence the later half of this episode has had, but I didn't even know what I was going to talk about in the first episode, the like beginning of the episode, and that actually came along just fine. So I guess you never really know. I guess you really don't. And if we did know, then we could do a lot. We could solve many problems. We could fix many afflictions. But we don't know. That's like the whole key. That's the whole conundrum. Is that we don't know. We just don't know. We don't know what to do. We don't know why we do what we do. And life's ultimately too short for most people to sacrifice goodness in the present for pleasure in the future. Too risky, even. And it's true. It's definitely risky. But somehow I still found the words, even though didn't really think of them at first. Or no, I thought I wasn't going to have anything to say, but I evidently do, which is nice. But towards the end, now I think it's more of an energy issue than anything. It's weird too, because I slept great. And again, I wasn't tired until, I actually think it could be I wasn't really hydrating as well as I should have. That could definitely be it. Like towards the end of the day, wasn't drinking as much water as I should have. So that's typically the culprit for myself. And that's probably what it is. But yeah, I guess we're just at such a different vantage point in life that it almost doesn't even make any sense. I know I repeat this a lot, but I didn't think I'd have all the stuff that I have. Like it's a lot of stuff, and I don't know. I didn't think I'd have it. We're almost to the end. Oh, almost. Almost. Yeah, wow, talk about silence. The man who never runs out of what to say is running low. I think I'm just running low on energy for whatever reason. It's even weirder too because my meals today, if anything, were pretty large. You know. And my brain is fatigued. It wants rest. It craves relaxation. I don't know how people do it, you know? But again, I think a lot of people don't really have the same thoughts as I do. It's like I have an artist's brain going on and it just wastes a lot of time. Well, let's not say waste, but it is kind of exhausting to be knowing and perceiving the world in the way that I do, I think, especially since I don't really have much super coherent spiritual grounding like I used to, you know? I think especially since that's the case. There's no spiritual grounding. That's really what I miss. Like, I miss feeling like I was a real artist, you know, in work. I'm fortunate because my work has preserved my art because it hasn't stolen my mind, but I don't really do a lot of silly, interesting, philosophical, or artistic things. In my day to day life, I think in a lot of ways, I've become pretty normal. Somebody just ran a stop sign. I was kind of like, okay, like, wow, that was a little scary. But, yeah, yeah. I feel like I'm not really connected with myself in the full way that I could be. And it's kind of frustrating because I think I was on that track many, many years ago. And it ended up getting pushed aside because, you know what happens. These days, these kinds of things are not valued or appreciated in the same way as they once were. Now everybody has to be the perfect cog, and the economic pressure is higher than ever, and push, push, push than ever before to be there and to be that way. One of the things I thought about today is how do you teach somebody gratitude? Do you teach somebody gratitude by leading by example or trying to enforce it? Because I was thinking about it, and that's kind of the paradox with the enforcement of gratitude, is that if you try to enforce it, if you try to push, then I don't know that that's really teaching somebody gratitude. If you restrict, you treat someone with less generosity than you otherwise would have to try to, quote unquote, teach them gratitude. Does this really make sense? Or really is the only way to teach gratitude to lead by example? Which is it? Which is it? I mean, maybe something is starting to register with me, you know? This whole idea of figuring everything out, calculating it all. Maybe it's time to take a break, to be pushing in this way, to be pushing in this way. To be pushing. What's left? That's the question. What's left? Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing. What's left of what? What was my point? Who knows? Who knows what the point was? I don't know. Yeah, this might have been some of the most silence in a while. Oh, wait, that's what I was getting at. All right, guys, I got it. I was saying how maybe my brain is starting to adjust a touch, you know? Because the brain, like, yeah, I mean, cramming car, and I don't know if I'm going to stop car rides with Schla, but it's true that a result of car rides with Schla, it has been this whole productivity thing. This whole productivity thing that now I'm criticizing, and how in 2024 there was a difference because my car rides were alone. They were truly alone. And I don't know, you know? Now they're like not alone. Now there's like, I think a better word is the freedom of it. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, this show, there should be the freedom, and not every episode does it really have to be. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It should just be chill. It should just be chill, but it probably wouldn't hurt to occasionally, you know, let an episode or two go, you know? Probably wouldn't hurt. It probably wouldn't hurt. Well, anyways, it has been Schla, and now it's time to buy Schla. So, see you, Schla.